Christmas greetings. So many give to Miracle Hill throughout the year. Let me give back by reminding you of lives which are being transformed by God with your assistance. You know, in fulfillment of Old Testament prophecy, Christ quoted the prophet Isaiah in Luke chapter 4, saying, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because He's anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed." Key to the work of Christ was His ministry to the helpless, hurting, and oppressed, and He calls us to follow His steps. In fact, James chapter 1 says the pure expression of our faith is both inward, that is purity, and outward, visiting orphans and widows in their affliction. In other words, serving the most helpless. Miracle Hill is your conduit of service to those who are homeless, hurting, trapped, and cannot get free without help. Let me share some of the gifts that you have made possible. Wanda, a guest at our Renewal Addiction Recovery program, recently broke her arm. At the emergency room, she refused the strong pain-blocking medication that they offered her, saying, "I'm allergic to it." When they asked, "Does it make you break out in hives?" she said, "No, it makes me break out in handcuffs." She was so determined to remain free of drugs that she would take nothing stronger than Tylenol 3 as they set her arm. This fall, we added an existing ministry called Homes for Life in Spartanburg County. With your help, we can now provide housing, counseling, and assistance to older boys aging out of the foster care system. The building there, recently remodeled by volunteers, now meets health and safety standards and can house up to 12 boys at any given time. You help to serve more than 1,800 complete Thanksgiving dinners in Greenville, Pickens, Spartanburg, and Cherokee counties. The Big Whistle 100 turkey fry deep fried more than 300 turkeys. Other areas cooked 120 more, and while we didn't use up all the turkey at once, it's helped us for several meals since then. Our new Overcomer Center for Men's Addiction Recovery has now completed its first year of operation, and 70 of its 80 beds are filled on any given night. What a beautiful, peace-filled space to promote healing. The moving of the Overcomers freed space in our Greenville mission. Emergency shelter beds for men have increased there from 100 to 140, and we'll be able to add more beds next year. In addition to our 3 children's homes, the care of children in Miracle Hill's resource families is a high priority. We had 50 families this time last year. We've added 14 more, but we only have 58 today. Why is that? Because 12 of the children in the care of these families have been adopted by them, and they're no longer available for new placements. That's okay. I couldn't hope for a better outcome, and God will give us the additional families that are needed. And finally, in 2008, Sarah almost died from a drug overdose, and her family called us from her hospital room. She came into our emergency shelter. She moved into our addiction recovery. She then went to transitional housing, and nearly 2 years ago, she moved out completely independent once again. She left our care, but not our hearts. And tonight I'll have the privilege of going to her wedding, celebrating God's gift to her of a godly young man fully accepted by her family and his. Thank you for making the work of God possible in Sarah's life and in thousands of lives served at Miracle Hill this year. Just the volunteer hours would be the equivalent of 32 more full-time positions. Whether you volunteer, give, or pray, your investment is accepted by God as your gift to Him. May His peace fill your hearts this Christmas and throughout the new year.